2003 saw the rebirth of Leatherface. After 3 inferior sequels, it was time that Leatherface get a reboot. So the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre film was remade for contemporary audiences. It was put out through Michael Bay's company Platinum Dunes, and it was directed by Marcus Nispel, a known music video director. The stars of the film were Jessica Biel as Erin, Jonathan Tucker as Morgan, Erica Learson as Pepper, Mike Vogel as Andy, Eric Balfour as Kemper, featured Andrew Bernarski as Thomas Hewitt, aka Leatherface, and of course featured the great R. Lee Ermey as Sheriff Hoyt. Now, I love the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know a lot of people are not happy with it because it advertently led to the horror remake boom that we would see over the next several years. But I think this film is awesome. Just like I feel Tobe Hooper's original film is awesome. I never understood why they changed the last name to Hewitt, but that was like a minor little gripe, but it never really bothered me. I think they should have kept it Sawyer, but again, I'm not the writers. But I really like this film. I like all the people in it. I think Jessica Biel was amazing in this film. She did a great job as Erin. I also loved R. Lee Ermey as Sheriff Hoyt, completely sick and twisted, just did a great job in the role. And I loved Andrew Bernarski as Leatherface. Like I said, I think the inspiration for the way the character was portrayed in this film was very much the 1990 Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. He was a big man and he was very imposing. But they also got a lot right in this film. There was a lot of little homages to the original Hooper film, but they never copied anything. Even the hitchhiker scene, which a lot of people say, oh, there's a hitchhiker scene in this film. Yeah, but it's done very differently. And I think it actually is sort of what prompts the kids to do what they do, and I thought it was a great sort of kicking off point for the story. But yeah, I really love this film. I don't know why all of a sudden it's getting so much hate. I really think it has to do with the fact that it led to the remake boom for the horror genre, where we would see remakes, both good and bad, and that was pretty much all the horror films that were coming out, and nothing new or original. But I give this film a 10 out of 10, just like I give Tobe Hooper's original a 10 out of 10. I think it's a terrific film. I've watched it many times. I still think it has the impact that it did the first time I saw it, which was opening weekend, the week before my wedding, and my 2 best men, Steve and Guillermo, took me to see it. And it always will have a special place in my heart because of that experience, but it also was one of those films that made me truly appreciate the character of Leatherface as well as Hooper's original film. In 2006, we would get a prequel to Marcus Nispel's remake of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, was directed by Jonathan Liebersman, and it starred Jordana Brewster as Chrissy, Matt Bomer as Eric, Diora Baird as Bailey. You also had Taylor Handley as Dean, and you also had the return of R. Lee Ermey as Sheriff Hoyt and Andrew Bernarski as Thomas Hewitt, aka Leatherface. I think it was a terrific film. It's again, I like this film just as much as I like the remake and Hooper's original. I think these films this one especially really captured a lot of what Hooper was doing in the original film. It has the cannibalistic family. It shows why they're cannibals. You also have some terrific performances. I thought Jordana Brewster was great in this, and Matt Bomer as Eric he stole a lot of the movie. He just did a terrific job in his role. Diora Baird did a great job. She's beautiful. Great job in the film. I also loved Andrew Bernarski as Leatherface. He's really such an imposing Leatherface. I think he just did a tremendous job, and there's some horrific scenes in this film. But yeah, I love this film, and it's another film that I think doesn't get the praise it deserves. I think a lot of people that are haters of the Platinum Dunes films should rewatch them because they're really tremendous films. And I think this one is, like I said, just as great as the remake and just as great as Hooper's original. So 10 out of 10 for this one as well. Love this film. It's one that I've watched on more than one occasion. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I did see the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw 3D today. Here's my ticket right there. And I'll go over the basic plot of the film as well as the characters who directed it and wrote it, and then my thoughts on the film. So the basic plot of the film is that character Heather learns that she has inherited a Texas estate from her grandmother. She decides to bring her friends along on the road trip to investigate the inheritance. On arrival, she uncovers she has inherited a mansion, but is yet to uncover the terrors that lurk in the basement below it. Now, John Lessenhop was the director of the film. He previously did the film Takers. Screenwriters were Deborah Sullivan and Adam Marcus, who did Jason Goes to Hell. I'm not a big fan of him, but they both developed the screenplay. The film stars Alexandra Daddario. She played Heather Miller. You also have Tanya Raimondi as Nikki, Scott Eastwood as Carl, Trey Songz as Ryan. You had Sean Sipas as Daryl. You had the great Bill Moseley playing Drayton Sawyer. You also had a cameo by Gunnar Hansen as Boss Sawyer. And as Leatherface, you had Dan Yeager. Now, I fucking loved Texas Chainsaw 3D. I really don't understand a lot of the backlash I've been hearing about the film, the negativity towards the filmmakers, and I was skeptical, just like a lot of people were at first, especially when I found out Adam Marcus was one of the screenwriters, because everybody knows I hate Jason Goes to Hell. But I was I guess because I went in with an open mind, I really didn't go in with any expectations other than to be entertained, scared. Something that I think a lot of people forget, that's what movies are for. I didn't go in expecting to, have this life-altering experience with this film. I wanted to go in and see another Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie because I was really sad that there wasn't any after Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, the last Platinum Dunes film. The fact that this was a direct sequel to the original film, I thought was really ingenious. The fact that Lionsgate wasn't going to do another reboot of the series like Platinum Dunes had done 10 years ago. I thought that was really ingenious. The fact that the filmmakers painstakingly recreated the Sawyer house along with the swing and even some of the costume designs for Leatherface at the beginning of the film, that was amazing because that house looked identical to the one from the original film. I mean, for people to say that, I've read some areas where people are saying the people that made this were not fans of the original film. I completely beg to differ. I think the filmmakers were tremendous fans of the original, and they really paid homage to that at the beginning of the film. The other issues I've been hearing about is the timeline issue. The fact that the Heather character is obviously in her mid-20s, yet the first film's timeline was 1973. Even though it came out in 74, it says 73 at the beginning of the film. So her character is found as a baby at the beginning of the film, and she's a Sawyer, but she's raised by a different family. She should be technically 40 years old if this film was taking place between 1973 and 2012. She should be close to 40. And yet she's probably in her mid-20s. But this timeline issue did not bother me. Not once in the film does the film say 1973 was when everything went down. They do reference 2012, which is fine by me. I mean, there's many films in horror franchises that have messed with the timeline. Friday the 13th was hugely notorious for that. I mean, part 1 and 2 are supposed to be 5 years apart, yet they look almost like they happened like a month apart in terms of the look and feel. Same thing with parts 4 and 5 of Friday the 13th. They're supposed to be like a 9-year gap because Tommy's like a child in part 4 and he's a grown-up in part 5, yet technology and everything is the same. So same thing in Nightmare on Elm Street. They've it doesn't bother me, and I don't know why people are getting so worked up about it. Yes, the original took place in the 70s, and the filmmakers are not trying to take that away from anybody. They are trying to bring the Texas Chainsaw movies into a new generation of film goers, and a lot of these kids have probably not seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't, but they have to sort of make the film fit into today's demographic in terms of film goers. So I think they did a tremendous job of paying homage to the original film. I don't see anything wrong with the way that they've done it. The other issue of the film is just some of the characterizations. I know a lot of people don't like the main girl in it, Heather. And I actually think that she did a tremendous job in it. There wasn't one character in this film that I didn't like. So, I mean, like I said, I really don't understand the backlash. I think Alexandra Daddario did a great job as Heather. I think she was beautiful. She did a great job in the film. And I also think Dan Yeager was tremendous as Leatherface. Really, really paid a tremendous homage to Gunnar Hansen. I think he really had the Gunnar Hansen look and feel. Made him his own, but still you could tell that he was really paying tribute to what Gunnar did with the character. I also didn't have a problem with Trey Songz as Ryan. A lot of people were like completely negative because there was a musician that was in the film, but I actually think he did a great job. I didn't have a problem with anybody in the film. I also thought it was great that Bill Moseley came back to play Drayton Sawyer, as Jim Seadow had passed away and wasn't able to return to this film. But he did a great job of playing Drayton and really did Jim proud, I believe, in the role. But yeah, I really had no problem with this film at all. And for people that bitch and moan that there's no sequels being made, that they're just doing remakes. Well, these filmmakers went and did a sequel, and they paid tremendous tribute to the original Chainsaw movie. And no one is happy again. I really think that fans of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre will never be happy with any new film. Whether it be a sequel, a remake, a prequel, anything, they're always going to complain that it's never going to touch Tobe Hooper's film, and I think that's fine. But, for the rest of us, I think there's a lot of people out there that really are enjoying the Texas Chainsaw 3D film. I'm happy that it came out. I think it's a great sequel. I really will put it in place of Tobe Hooper's original sequel because I think it's a better sequel than that film. I think it's better than Leatherface Chainsaw 3, and it's 1,000 times better than Next Generation. I actually saw one guy on YouTube that said that Next Generation was better than this film. I don't know what he was smoking because that movie's a pile of shit, in my opinion. I really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. The timeline thing did not bother me one bit, and I really don't understand why that's the basis for people saying it's a bad film. It's not. It's a great film. It's a tremendous sequel to the original film, a film that, it came out almost 40 years ago, and I think it's amazing that we actually got a good sequel to it. So yeah, for me, Texas Chainsaw 3D, I gave it a 10. Hate me if you want to, but I give it a 10 out of 10. So for me, the best films in the series are the original Hooper film, the 2 Platinum Dunes films, and then this one, Texas Chainsaw 3D. The other 3 in the film, the other 3 in the series, Next Generation, I'll never see again. I did appreciate Tobe Hooper's sequel to his original film from 1986, and Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is okay. They're both okay. I would watch them again, but I don't love them, and they're not my favorites, but I do enjoy them, and I would watch them again. So again, this is just my opinion on the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. I hope everybody's enjoyed this little retrospective on the film series. And like I said, these are my opinions. I'm not telling anybody how to think. And if you want to share your thoughts with me on the series or what you thought of the new Texas Chainsaw film, please feel free to comment below. Again, thank you for all the support on this page, and look forward to more videos coming from me this week.